Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Let Me Just Say This. I'm so happy to be back with you guys. I know I went MIA for about 2 weeks there, but listen, I needed some R&R, so I took a little breaky break, and I'm going to share a little bit about that with you guys in this episode today. But listen, if you are new here, baby, hello, welcome to the vibe, welcome to the tribe. Go ahead and subscribe. You're going to love it here. You are going to love it here. And if you are watching, hello, hey, from the living room once again. I'm super happy to be back with you guys. Like I said, I'm actually shooting this on a new camera, so if you are listening, go ahead and go to the YouTube and watch, baby. Let me know what you feel about this, okay? Also, the background is changing. Don't get used to the living room for too much longer. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm about to switch it up. Now, when I tell you this episode was supposed to come out last week, I actually had a whole docket of things I wanted to talk about. And we're going to talk about some of them today, and that's just to include what I've been seeing on social media as far as love and relationships is concerned, specifically with this Reesa Teesa situation. I'm going to touch on it just a little bit, just to give my thoughts, because I definitely did not watch the full part series. Baby, when I tell you I just don't have the time or the patience, but everybody's talking about it, so I got the gist, so I'm going to give you my little 2 cents on that. Additionally, there's a lot of content surrounding decentering men. There's a lot of content around stop talking about men. We're tired of hearing about dating. We're tired of talking about these things. And I'm going to touch on that as well because, of course, I participate in the discourse because this is my niche and this is what I love to talk about. But I understand this idea of decentering men because, in a way, I'm decentering men in my life too. So we're going to touch on that. And last but not least, and I know it's probably going to ruffle somebody's feathers, but I want to talk about Black women and the idea that we're giving up on love, the idea that we are giving up on Black love specifically, and the hardships that we face in dating, because dating in this landscape right now is really hard for Black women. So we're going to get into that. And I wouldn't be the blind baddie that I am if I didn't let you know that I am a Zelo partner, baby. Listen, if you like to wear glasses, prescription or non-prescription, sunglasses, whatever you like, I promise you, Zelo got it for you. And I got the discount for you, 10% off with code LMJST. The link will be in the description. Go ahead and copy some new frames, okay? And help me pay some of these bills. Okay, so I want to briefly touch on why I took a 2-week hiatus, honey. And full transparency, I did consider stopping the podcast. I did consider taking a break. I considered quitting. And there were a lot of factors that went into that. But one of the biggest reasons why I was like, I don't know if I want to continue doing the podcast is because the content that is going up on the Instagram page is not necessarily what I want it to be. It's always something, and a bunch of men are in my comments harassing the fuck out of me. When I tell you I posted a video, a clip from the last episode, the one that said, I think every man has the one that got away. Oh my God. Over 1,000 comments. Over 1,000 comments. 99% of them were from men upset and crying in my comments. And when I tell you a hit dog a holla, they hate it when you write. They hate it when you write. Yeah, it was very overwhelming for me though. Very, very overwhelming for me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break from Instagram. I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from posting. I'm not gonna do an episode, just to give myself a little bit of time to get back in the right headspace, because in all honesty, I was debating, like I said, if I still wanted to do this, but I really want to be clear that I love doing this. I love recording. I love talking to you guys. I love engaging with you guys. It's just that I'm reframing the content that I'm putting out. And because honestly, I want to give you guys the best content that I can give you. I want you guys to get something from these episodes. I don't want it just to be some bullshit, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I actually want it to be meaningful. And so I'm shifting gears a little bit. I'm actually going to be focusing a little bit more on the TikTok, because the community on TikTok, I feel like, is a target that I want to hit. Honestly, the girlies. This is strictly for the bitches, all right? I am here for the girls. I'm here for discourse and dialogue that is healthy. I don't want to have a bunch of men in my comments because they hate women and they hate me. I just hate that, and it doesn't, it I don't know, it just, It gives me the ick. It gives me the ick. And so Instagram right now, of course, still follow the Instagram page, and I still will be posting actively on the Instagram page, but we're moving towards the TikTok page because I just like it better over there. Instagram right now, I feel like it's such a fucking cesspool, and the stuff that I really care about is not hitting the way I want it to. It's the stuff that, you know, they can take and run with and turn into some bullshit that I don't want. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reframe what I'm giving you motherfuckers, because I'm not gonna keep allowing y'all to come on my page and do all this bullshit, because over 1,000 comments for one clip is crazy. But do follow, because it goes up over there. Do follow. I still will be active, like I said, but I'm just changing it up, and I want to elevate. We're elevating over here. Let me just say this. I'm changing some things. I have some things planned, some things coming up, and I really just want to give you guys the best of me. So if you stick beside me, baby, trust me, I promise I won't let you down, okay? Now on to the Reesa Teesa situation. If you do not know, okay, if you live under a rock or you don't have TikTok, baby, there is a content creator. You can go on TikTok and just look up Reesa Teesa, who the fuck did I marry? Who TF did I marry? On TikTok. And it's a 50-part series, basically. It's a Lifetime movie about this woman's interaction with this man that she ended up marrying, that she found out lied about his entire identity, was on the phone for hours with people, nobody else on the line. He was just putting on a front, a facade. Mind you, I want to be very careful when I talk about this, because I think it has come out that he does have some mental illness, right? So I'm not going to go too heavy on it, on him. I mean, 100% a liar and a scammer. 100% deserves that criticism, but I'm not going to go so much on him. I really want to talk more about the discourse and the dialogue that has been going on when it comes to the Reesa Teesa situation. This woman got on TikTok, and detailed this story, right? And one, we have to stop putting all of our information on the internet. No. One, some things you could just take to the grave, baby. Some things you could just take to the grave. But there are a lot of learning lessons in her story, right? Two, a lot of the commentary surrounded, I think it was just misdirected criticism. A lot of the criticism was towards her for even dealing with the guy and not seeing the red flags. And there was also a part that was like, you know, if this man is a CEO and he's a boss and he got money, why would he want you? The Charlemagne comments of, well, the big backs, quote unquote, or the undesirable women, right, are so desperate that they'll put up with some shit, or that they really think that somebody wants them for real, but really in reality, it's some bullshit. It's some bullshit. A lot of people were in the comments saying, you know, this is her own fault. She put herself in this situation, and, you know, she is, and not reflecting my opinion. This is what they are saying, right? That she's a heavier set woman, an unattractive woman, and why would a successful man want you anyway? Like, it really is giving, the patriarchy is working. It's giving blaming the victim instead of blaming the abuser, mental illness or not. At the end of the day, yes, there are red flags. Yes, as she's telling us this story, we can see the red flags because she's telling us the story. But in the moment, when you're going through something, you don't see the red flags. Unless you're really being conscious to pay attention to the signs. Oftentimes, the red flags breeze right past us, or we ignore them because of what we want. And I think if you're operating in a sense of desperation, or wanting a relationship really bad, or just wanting to have somebody around, you are absolutely more likely to put up with some shit or bypass something that clearly crosses your boundary, or that is clearly off. Clearly. So I don't blame her for getting in the situation with a man and he bamboozled her. Because at the end of the day, how many of us have been bamboozled by a man? BFFR, baby. There is no woman on the planet who hasn't been played out and bamboozled and dog walked by a man. There's not one. And the girlies are talking about couldn't be me or has never been me, baby. You are delusional. You are being dog walked at this very moment. And because you are so up on this high horse that it can't be you, you'll never be able to get yourself out of that situation. Ever. Because it takes conscious awareness to know when you're in a bad situation. It takes awareness to know that, damn, actually, I'm putting up with some bullshit. Actually, this person is really taking me through the ringer. And I got a lot of feedback on TikTok when I had made a TikTok that was like, if I were more willing to put up with some bullshit, I would probably be in a relationship. And the reality is, a lot of relationships that we get into are not the healthiest relationships. Nothing is 100% healthy, right? And things come in waves and cycles, right? So a lot of us have been in relationships where we put up with something or experienced something or allowed something to slide that really and truly we shouldn't have. And for those of us who are at the point where we're like, yo, I'm not putting up with anything. Not one thing can slide. The first off color thing, I'm out. Those are the people who be single. And that's just the reality. They'll be single. Now, in Reesa Teesa's case, she married the man. And honestly, this is a real swindling that happened to that lady. He swindled the hell out of her because at the end of the day, he's putting on a facade. He's putting on a facade. A lot of people will be in a relationship and that person is outright up front on paper, like clearly doing the dirt, okay? Clearly just being a terrible person, and you still stay. In her situation, it wasn't as clear. It wasn't as clear. There were signs, right? But it wasn't as clear because he's behaving and basically cosplaying. Basically, he's cosplaying. And with the whole mental health and mental illness aspect, he may have actually believed the lies that he was telling, which makes it more believable, you know? So, for me, with the women especially, like, I feel like it's so weird for women to go on the internet and social media and actively harass and criticize other women for being victimized, for being in situations with men who've played them out. Because like I said, we've all been through that. So maybe it's a projection. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the criticism towards Reesa Teesa was just dumbfounding. And then, like I said, Charlemagne, if you listen to the Breakfast Club, which is at this point the dumbest show ever. Anyway, Charlemagne the God made some real messed up comments about the whole situation. And I'm just like, this person who claims to be a mental health advocate, and you're over here, a black man, telling this black woman, like, well, you know, you settle for that because you're desperate and because you're a heavyset woman, then, you know, that's what you're gonna have to put. That's some bullshit. That is some bullshit. And this idea of respectability politics, this idea of who deserves love, this idea of who is worthy of a high value man. You gotta be skinny, you gotta be pretty, you gotta be light, you gotta be bright, you gotta be according to this beauty standard, and you gotta sit down and you gotta shut the hell up. That's what they want. And when I tell you the patriarchy is working, the patriarchy is working, and the internet is eating it up. The internet is eating it up. Okay? Now, the lessons that I feel like can be learned from the Reesa Teesa situation is that trust but verify. When someone is telling you something about themselves, you can believe them up to a certain extent, of course, especially if they don't give you a reason to doubt them, but always verify. Especially if this is a stranger, because you got to think, a lot of the time, the acceleration of relationships, especially when you really want to be there, it goes really fast. So you start accepting things just for face value, when in reality, you should be verifying. You should be verifying, okay? They say they have these strong relationships with their family and their siblings. Okay, have you met them? Especially if this is someone you're intimate with, this is someone you've been in a relationship with, and they're living with you or you are trying to marry. Why don't you know their family? Why haven't you spoken to their mother? Why haven't you met their siblings? These are things that I feel like an abuser, when they want to get you, they will isolate you from your family and they will make sure that you know nothing about them. So you have to verify everything that they're telling you. And at this stage, honestly, in dating, there's not anyone new that can come into my life now that I'm dating that I'm not running a background check on. I'm 100% running a background check on you. I'm going to verify everything you told me, because the lies that will be told, the lies that are being told, baby, are astronomical. Get your paperwork up front, honey. Get your paperwork up front. So that way, you can know for sure if a person is telling the truth or not. Because Reesa Teesa, honestly, she could have done a background check on a man. She could have paid attention to the signs, yes. She could have tried to see who was on the phone when he was on the phone for hours with absolutely nobody. That shit doesn't make sense to me. I don't know how that slid. But in the course of dating, don't get to the point where you want it so badly that you're taking everything that they're saying. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Trust but verify, baby. Now, on to decentering men. And this is from a hetero woman's perspective, okay? I've seen a lot of content on TikTok about being tired of being in this datosphere space on social media where we're consuming a lot of stuff in relation to love and relationships, and honestly, a lot of unhealthy things in regard to love and relationships, a lot of bad advice, a lot of, just toxicity in regard to dating, especially in the Black community, especially for us. But there are some people whose entire feed is just love, relationships, and dating. And while I am a producer of that content, I myself don't even like to consume that wholeheartedly all the time. Not all the time. Not all the time. And you have to be careful about what you're taking in. You have to be careful about what you're ingesting, the type of content that you're ingesting. So if you are watching a lot of content that's centered around men ain't shit, I'm sad about love, like more negative love content, then I feel like it'll put you in a negative love space in your real life and in your real relationships. And if you're consuming a lot of shit that's just toxic or a lot of stuff that's unrealistic, it's going to come to fruition in your real relationships and interactions while you're dating. And so at this point, for me personally, as a person who creates this type of content, I want to put out stuff that is healthy. And over the course of this podcast, I've always detailed my dating experiences. Mind you, this is our early 20s dating experiences, right? Now that I'm 25, baby, shit's clicking, but my mindset around dating has changed. My mindset around what I want in my partner and what I need for myself has changed a lot. And it's much healthier than what it used to be. And so there are some discourse that I have no desire to participate in. I am indeed tired of the baby daddy, baby mama, high value this, high value that, who's going to pay for this, who's going to pay. That content is so trivial and stupid to me at this point, because at any time in your life, these things are going to change. And then on top of that, it's so subjective to what you need and what you want for your life. And so I think there's a lot of women on social media right now that are like, I'm tired of consuming content that evolves around, or is it revolve? Is it, y'all correct me in the comments. I'm tired of consuming content that is centered around getting a man, keeping a man, what a man did. I get it. I get it. I get it, child. And so I feel like that's the time where you shift to content that is more so about elevating yourself. Because the reality is, when you elevate yourself and when you focus on yourself, the caliber of person that you're able to attract goes up. And you will get the like, you'll scoff. You'll scoff at what you used to settle for. You'll scoff at what you used to be attracted to and what you used to want in a person, in a partner. Once you are focused on yourself and tapped into what you need for your life, I feel like it puts you in a better position to discern what is good for you and what is bad for you, and make healthier decisions about who you allow access to you. And so if you're in that space, or you're one of those people who wants to decenter men, right? All of my content won't be about men. It won't, I promise. So you can still keep consuming me, because I'm really moving more into a self-care space. But if it's about decentering men, if it's about decentering the negativity in relationships, then you really have to curate your feed. You have to curate what you're taking in and what you're consuming, and switch it to things that are a little bit healthier for you. And I love to like see the, if you're a woman in a healthy relationship, tap in. I love to see that shit too. I love to see it too. I think a lot of people don't they like to see it, but they don't enjoy it, because it's like a moment of envy, because it's something that they never had. Because a lot of the times, especially from what I've seen on TikTok with the girls engaging on there, is that they've been in terrible situations, terrible relationships, and because of this, they have kind of oriented themselves towards content that affirms those feelings. And I'm like, okay, now it's time to orient that towards things that affirm your self-care and your self-love, and what you have to do or what you should be doing to elevate your life, so that way you're taking care of yourself. And like I said, at that point you can attract somebody that is of a higher caliber. And I don't mean like high value, I just mean someone who is better for you. Now, when it comes to me and decentering men, what that means for me is that I decided that this year I'm really tapped into myself. Last year I was very much so in my lover girl era, and I wanted a relationship. And I wanted a relationship so much so that, not that I was desperate, but that I stayed in a relationship that I really had no business staying in. I dealt with someone I had no business dealing with. And, I think for a really long time, I was I think what it is for me is that I've always wanted a family. And women, we are often conditioned and told that the goal is to get married, that the goal is to have children, that the goal is to be a wife, is to get a man. You know what I'm saying? That is our goal, right? We're not told go to school, get your education, and go be prosperous in your career and focus on all your ambitions. We are told go to school, get your education, meet a man, get married, have kids, and live happily ever after. That's what we are told. And we romanticize these things. And as a lover girl myself, I romanticize everything in my life in general, but I'm damn sure absolutely romanticizing the type of love and relationship that I want for my future, 100%. And honestly, to my detriment sometimes, to the point where there have been big decisions in my life that I made based on a man, based on a relationship, when I should have been focused on what I needed. And even sometimes still, I may catch myself thinking, okay, well, if I get in a relationship, my job, well, listen, the priority isn't necessarily the relationship, especially with a man who this is a hypothetical man. This man don't even exist. Like, why would I compromise and bend my life for somebody that ain't even in existence yet, right? When, like I said, it goes back to focusing on what I need to do to put myself in a position to get with and be in a relationship that is healthy and actually purposeful and of service, right? This year, I think I'm split between either just not seriously dating or long distance dating. And I know we all say dating in my city is so bad and we say that about every city we live in, but I genuinely believe it. I live in Georgia, okay? Just take that in. I live in Georgia. I have to find a man from another state. There's no way. But also I live in a military town, so there's a lot of turnover. But even then, for the girlies that think the military men are the way to go, baby, they're not. I might do, I might do another episode on that. I don't know, but baby, they're not. And so I had come to the point that I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna give up on love. And this is a great segue actually to the idea that Black women are giving up on love. But for me personally, I'm never gonna give up on love because I'm a lover girl through and through, straight out the pack. Okay? Nobody will ever convince me that the love that I want doesn't exist. Because I know what I can give, and I know there's somebody out there that can match that. All right? However, I'm in a season of protecting my heart. I'm in a season of taking care of myself. And honestly, a relationship isn't a priority anymore. It used to be. It's not anymore. And I think that's okay. I think that's where I should have been all this time, to be honest. Focusing on my goals, aspirations, and all of those things, that should have always been the priority. But because as a young woman, I was made to believe that my priority was to have a family, that is what I went and ran with. And then also just thinking about, why do I want this? What type of childhood traumas do I have that caused me to want to create the perfect family? You gotta dig deep. You gotta dig deep into this shit. And in order to get yourself to a space where you are ready, you really gotta do it on your own. And you really gotta check your own shit at the door. You have to check your own shit at the door, because for the next relationship that you wanna be in, you wanna be healthy, right? You want to be in a space where you can give and receive in the right way. You want to be in a space where you can build with somebody and you're not wasting your time. You're not having frivolous whatevers with someone who in reality is only in your life for a season and not for the long haul. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just in that space where I'm like, if I do date, it might not be someone here. Honestly, and I do want to date somebody somewhere else so bad, because I just be wanting to leave my city and go somewhere else and visit. And also, I have a busy schedule, and I don't know, for some reason I feel like managing a phone call versus managing real FaceTime with somebody is a little bit easier. I don't know, I might touch on that at a later date, but I'm decentering men in terms of what my goals are for this year. Now, last but not least, I just want to briefly touch on Black women giving up on love, going for the pasta and lobster, and dating outside of our race. I will never tell a woman not to date outside of their race. I have my own specific views on what I want for myself, because I've only dated Black men. I've only been with Black men. And I saw a very interesting video. Okay, so I'm gonna play this clip for you, and then I'm gonna give you my little commentary.
Girl, Black men are the hardest group of men to date. And if you don't believe me, you can look at the divorce rates. Black men that marry Black women get a divorce rate that's at 100% higher than the average. Black men that marry white women are at a 200% divorce rate increase. Black women that date non-Black men are anywhere from 20 to 44% less in divorce rate. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because most Black women are dating and marrying Black men, and there are certain challenges involved with that I think are important, so I wanted to share those with you so you understood. Am I saying that I don't want you to be with a Black man? Not at all. 2/3 of my clients actually end up with Black men, but I want to make sure that you're vetting them very well so that you get healthy, healed Black men. Okay, so what am I talking about? First, let's talk about mom. Girl, in the 90s, 75% of the households, Black households, were single mother households. So Black men generally have two relationships with their mother. Either they were enmeshed, so entitled, and they think that they're the prize, and they are looking for women to be mothers, or their mother was very highly critical, judgmental. So a lot of Black men are actually running away from Black women because they're running away from their mothers. So a question that you want to ask if you're dating a Black guy is ask him about his relationship with his mother. Yeah? Okay, number 2, money. Unfortunately, because Black men are less educated and some, systematic prejudices, racism, discrimination, Black men are not making as much money as probably they need to be. But also, they're making less money than Black women. So, and this is the only kind of racial group where this happens. And so, it is very hard to find a Black man that is making more than you. And if that is the case, oftentimes, Black men will feel emasculated and often try to humble you and control you because they don't feel like they're in financial control. So that makes it a little bit challenging when you're dealing with Black men. You want to ask him what he does, right? You want to ask him, and then you want to glass door that mofo, girl. You also want to ask him how many people he manages, right? Because if he can't manage people professionally, he probably can't manage people personally. Thirdly, you want to ask about the men in his life, his mentors. A lot of Black men actually don't have many mentors, so it's really weird to say and it feels very archaic, but it's very
Honestly,
true.
I'm gonna link the video below, and I'll link this creator's TikTok if I can find it as well, so you can watch the full video. Let me just be clear. Let me preface this because I don't need none of y'all crying in my comments, okay? I know a lot of Black men that are amazing partners with Black women that are healthy and happy and are nurturing and have amazing households with amazing little Black babies. I know a lot of that, okay? And so this is not representative of every Black man, right? But I will say, in the context of even talking to those Black men who are now in healthy relationships, that at some point it was very difficult to deal with them. It was very difficult to be with them. And I'm not gonna say that Black men are the hardest to date, but Black men absolutely are hard to date. And it's not all about them specifically, but when we think about societal factors, yes, it is hard to date Black men. Now, I want to unpack what he said a little bit, and I want to speak specifically on American Black men, not Caribbean Black men, not African Black men, because their experiences are different. A lot of American Black men in our age range, right, did grow up in houses with single mothers. They did grow up in households, like, even if they had two parents, it was dysfunctional. They did not have a healthy male example or mentor in their life, right? Black men are automatically disenfranchised here, okay? A good chunk of our Black men are incarcerated, okay? So the dating pool is already narrowing and narrowing and narrowing. And when we think about our experiences dealing with Black men and a lot of the trauma that Black women had to deal with because they were dealing with Black men who themselves were traumatized or who themselves never had a good example of things, made it very difficult and makes it really, present tense, makes it really hard to be in relationships with them. And so I think that when we have these conversations, it's really hard not to sound accusatory. It's really hard not to sound like everything's wrong with you and there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is a lot of Black women are giving up on love in relationships with Black men because it's difficult to be in relationships with them or try to be in relationships with them. It comes with a lot of emotional trauma. It comes with a lot of emotional turmoil. It comes with being dog walked and dragged through the mud and all of that just so we could prove worthiness of love and honesty and loyalty and affection and safety. The thing is, we see Black women go and date outside of their race and be prosperous, have extremely low divorce rates outside of their race and be prosperous and be happy and be catered to and cherished and protected. These are the things we want from Black men. And it's not as if we're just like, yo, I don't want to date a Black man because Black men and it's not that. We want to, it's that we feel like we cannot. And like I said, I personally don't think, I don't know if I could ever do it. I don't know if I could ever date outside my race. I'm not gonna lie. Because I know what I want for my family. And I'm so biggity Black that I know that my Black children, I want a Black man to be there in their life, you know? But I don't fault Black women for dating outside of their race. Now, Black men, this is gonna sound so bad. They're gonna hate this, but I think Black women oftentimes cherish and pedestalize black men, and it's not reciprocated. And so when black men date outside of their race, it is taken as a slight, because it's like, you are giving to someone else what you won't give to us. And we are the ones who love you the most. And that's a tough pill to swallow. Really and truly. Really and truly. Because I know for a fact that I've spoken to and had conversations with black women who were like, yo, I wish I could be with a black man, but they don't like me. They don't want me. I'm going to go where the love resides. And it's not there. It's not there. And it's a cultural thing that we don't want to talk about. We don't want to call this. We don't want to say that the way black men treat black women is a cultural thing, but it is. It's a cultural thing, the way that we are treated by our own men. Okay? And it has to be treated, it has to be acknowledged in order to be, improved upon. So the women who are giving up on love, it makes me feel really sad for them. Because like I said, I know it exists. I know there are some amazing black men out there. It's not a blanket statement. There are a lot of amazing black men out there. The thing is, they are in relationships, they are married, okay? As far as the single dating pool right now of black men, it's not it's not giving. It's not giving. And I wholeheartedly believe they all have the potential, but like I said, the cultural implications and what is being taught right now is not giving do right by black women. It's not. It's just not. I think the reality is that there are a lot of societal, systemic, cultural, economic factors that play into why black love seems to not be sustainable, seems to not be a reality, and why dating amongst like black singles is so just tumultuous right now, and has always been. It's been for a long time, but I think now it's in the forefront of social media, where a lot of women are coming online and saying, yo, enough is enough. I'm tired of catering to a specific demographic when there's another demographic out there that will give me exactly what I want. So I'm going to go where the love resides. And I 100% understand it. I just want us to learn how to grow and be together and be healthy. And for me personally, knowing that I probably won't date outside my race, knowing that as much as I would love to get some pasta and lobster, I love black men. I love you down. I'm not going to give up on you. I'm going to work to make myself as healthy as I can. And I would hope that you are doing the same, and that the black man that I'm destined to be with, when I get him, that he is in a space where he can handle me and I am able to handle him as well. But, for the girlies that get it, they get it. For the men who are going to be upset about this shit, go cry in a corner. I really don't care. I think black women should be allowed to share their experiences dating black men, and to share how they feel, healthy or not, happy or not, and not be attacked for it. Because at the end of the day, it is representative of our experience here. It is representative of our cultural experience. And I don't think that it's like a coincidence that we have all these shared things. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think this is the tone that has been set. And if we want to break out of it, we got to set a new tone. My God, today, child. When I tell you I had so much to say, I missed you guys so much. I missed you down. Shout out to whoever made it to this part of the episode, baby. The people who make it to the end, listen. Just put the video on, put the podcast on, let it play in the background, honey bun, okay? Get to the end of the episode. If you are here with me, I love you down. You are a real one, for real. And I really appreciate you. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I wholeheartedly have a lot of great things planned. And like I said, I'm not going to give up on this, because I love this and I love you guys and I love talking with you guys. And this is still very therapeutic for me. It's still a very, personal thing for me. We're all about vulnerability and candor over here, and I can give you nothing less than that. So For all of you guys who made it to the end of the episode, thank you for sticking beside me. For everybody out there that has been supporting, thank you so much. I love you guys down. Follow on the socials, especially TikTok, because like I said, I'm getting up on there real heavy real soon. And I will get with you guys in the next one.